Here with Profitable Properties Boston. I own over 50 plus cash flowing investment properties across the Northeast, Greater Boston, New Hampshire area. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining how I teach my team, and that's my real estate agents, my cold callers, my lead managers, my closers, all about the numbers in advance in order to properly price a deal and to know if it's a good deal up front. So what we use is we use a software called Notion, and we use this as our internal wiki. And a wiki is just a knowledge base. So the first database that I'm going to show you is our area's knowledge. And what it is, it'll give a name of the area. It will give a hyperlink to the specific page, which I'll show you guys later on. It will show the comfort level of me wanting to buy there. So it's a 10. This is my focus area. The zip code of it to ensure that they do match the right properties with the right zip codes. And then it's going to have that rent multiplier. And you're going to see that it's between 1.25 and 1.5. Now, what does that mean? For most people, they're going to look for that 1% rule. An example of that is a $100,000 property will get you $1,000 per month per rent gross. In my case, I want 1.25 to 1.5. So that means that that property has to gross $1,250 to $1,500 a month. It's then going to have a distance from that focus area. This one is obviously Keene, so there isn't. And then it's going to provide a quick buy case, right? Different aspects of the property on the positive sides and then on the things that they should watch out for. So the tax rate here is super high. Then what we're going to have is the average price per unit sold for a multifamily. So you're going to see that if a multifamily would typically be over about $300,000 if it's a two-family. And if they get a deal and they get a two-family for $225,000, that pretty much tells them that it's a pretty decent deal, right? Because it's underneath that average per unit sold price. Of course, square footage can range. And that's where the next one comes in. So, this is $144 a square foot. So if we get a property and we know the square footage and we divide it out and the seller wants a certain amount and it's say 120 a square foot, probably a pretty good deal. It's below the average. Then I have a low and high, right? Price per square foot. So 69 means that that property was in really rough condition, but man, if I can get it for 69, I'll do some work. And then really, if it's like in that 180, 190 range, like we are just passing on, it's at the ceiling. Then what I have the team do is that I will put in the studio, 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 bed, 4 bed pricing for that area. And why is that important, right? So let's pull up our calculator and let's just pretend that we found a property that is going to be a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom in the Keene area. Based upon those rents, you're going to see that we can get $1,750 plus $2,000. All right, so we're at $3,750. Now let's pretend that we had that property and they're willing to sell it at $250,000. I'm going to go ahead and multiply that times the 1.25% rule. And it means that I have to get a rent of $3,125. Again, we talked that the rent that was potential could be $3,750. Of course, depending upon how much work I have to put into it and money. But on a gross number rent purchase price basis, that will hit the mark. So I would probably buy that property at $250,000. So that gives us a really good overview of the area that I'm looking in. Again, the comfort that I'm looking to buy, the zip code, the rent multiplier I want, the distance from my other properties because I own a bunch over here, and quick buy cases, watch out, average price per unit, multifamily sold, price per square foot average, low to high price, and then studio through 4 bed. The next step here is going to be a deeper dive in that area. And you can see that I have one for every area that I'm looking to buy currently. And what this does is it gives a deeper overview. So here I pulled up the comps for the past year of all the multifamilies. It'll have things like when it was sold, so I know how recent, the units, the building square footage, the sales price, the price per square foot, and the price per unit, and then a quick readout. You're going to have that for all the units. And then what ends up happening is that I do an overview of the snapshot of the last 11 deals. And you're going to see a lot of this information was in that other spreadsheet, but it again covers things like the sales price, the price per unit, the average sales price, and whether it's turnkey or it's going to be a heavy lift / renovation, right? So it's cheaper. And then that retail ceiling, which we do not want to touch, and that high and low price per square foot. I then give my team what they need to know, different bands, right, that they can fit within, and then the retail ceiling. And I always tell them to check that offer map, right? Make sure that we're hitting that one, that percentage that I'm looking for. Then for my lead manager, if they see a duplex above a certain amount, pass or negotiate hard. And if you see anything below a certain one and the rehab is you're crazy, flag it. Let's do this deal. And again, always check that gross margin. Then I have common property quirks, right? Just things about things in this area specifically that you might want to look out for. So on a highest level, this is the way that me and my team are going to be able to do the homework, do the research, and make sure that in any area that you or any of your referrals want to buy in, you can see the amount of homework that we're putting into it so that they really know the numbers. So when a deal comes in, and we're going to share this with you too, right? Like knowledge is key. And the more knowledge and educated you are on what's a good deal or not, it allows you to make a deal and a decision faster. And speed to lead is everything in this business. So if you know in your head these numbers, my team's on these numbers, and you give us a green light for a certain purchase price or square footage, we're going to go ahead and lock up that property for you and get that under agreement. And then that way you can continue to build your portfolio. So if you or anyone else you know is looking for a real estate agent that specializes in investment properties and does the homework to be able to show you what the real numbers are and what a good deal looks like, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to be able to help you.